as the flying car from Harry Potter. But the real 1959 Ford Anglia 105E has a history that's even stranger than fiction. From a dashboard made of what? To a factory secret hidden in plain sight. Get ready for 15 weird facts you absolutely didn't know. 1. That backwards landing rear window, the Anglia's most famous feature, was far more than a styling gimmick. While it gave the car a space-age, almost cheeky personality compared to its boxy rivals, it was heralded by Ford marketers as a stroke of practical genius. They claimed the steep angle helped rain clear itself off the glass, a clever bit of salesmanship that turned a visual quirk into a talking point about thoughtful design. The truth of its origin is even stranger, stretching across the Atlantic from the pinnacle of American luxury. The reversed angle rear window was an accidental innovation first seen on the 1958 Lincoln Continental, when the Continental's design was being modified from a two-door to a four-door model. The new roof structure incidentally created that dramatic slant. Ford's British designers, always keen to add a dash of transatlantic flair, eagerly imported this distinctive feature for their humble economy car, creating a surreal but charming design link between a luxury cruiser and a compact family runabout. So, while the Anglia's window might not have been a revolutionary rain-repellent marvel that brochure suggested, it stands as a wonderful artifact of automotive design osmosis. 2. It's one of those delightful automotive contradictions that makes perfect sense from a manufacturer's perspective. In 1959, Ford UK unveiled the revolutionary Anglia 105E, a car with space-age American styling, a peppy new overhead valve engine, and that famous reverse slant rear window. Yet, for all its forward-thinking design, this practical family car was never offered with four doors. For a company that understood its market deeply, this wasn't an oversight but a calculated and clever strategy. Not every buyer in late 1950s Britain was ready for such a futuristic-looking vehicle, and many families still insisted on the convenience of two extra doors. Ford's ingenious solution was to keep the older, more conservative 100E model's body shell in production, but give it the 105E's modern heart. This new car was called the Ford Prefect 107E, and it served a crucial dual purpose. It immediately provided a four-door option for customers who needed it, ensuring Ford didn't lose a sale to a more conventional rival. Perhaps more importantly, it acted as a safety net for buyers who were intrigued by the new mechanical components but were doubtful about the Anglia's relatively outrageous styling. They could opt for the familiar and restrained look of the Prefect instead. This move also allowed Ford to continue selling the even more basic 100E Popular alongside these newer models, maximizing their investment in the old tooling for a few more years. Launched simultaneously with the iconic Anglia 105E, the Prefect 107E was more than just a parts bin special. While it wore the boxier three-box silhouette of the previous generation, it received the Anglia's complete 997 cubic centimeters engine and four-speed gearbox, a massive upgrade from the old side valve unit. To differentiate it from its immediate predecessor, Ford gave it plusher interior touches and offered two-tone paintwork as a standard option. Despite these advantages, the Prefect 107E had a short production life of just over 18 months, with 38,154 units built before it was discontinued in June 1961. It stands as a fascinating transitional model, a clever stopgap that bridged the gap between old and new until Ford's next generation of family cars, like the Cortina, could take over. 3. The 1962 Endurance run wasn't a factory-stage event, but a private, almost madcap challenge undertaken by a determined crew. It was led by 24-year-old twin brothers, Tony and Michael Brooks, who, along with a group of friends, decided to prove the mettle of their little saloon. Their weapon of choice was a nearly standard Ford Anglia 105E, modified only with Ford's own 13 pounds performance kit. Their battleground was a high-speed oval at the Autodrome de Linas-Montlhéry near Paris, where they aimed to keep the car driving continuously for 7 grueling days and nights. For an entire week, the team worked in shifts, keeping the Anglia circulating the track without stopping, except for essential fuel and driver changes. The punishing schedule was to cover as much distance as possible within set time frames. When the checkered flag finally fell, the small car had covered an astonishing 12,400 miles, 20,000 kilometers. This monumental effort resulted in the capture of 6 international Class G world records for distances of 15,000 and 20,000 kilometers, and for durations of 4, 5, 6, and 7 days and nights, all at an average speed of 83.47 miles per hour, 134.3 kilometers per hour. The most remarkable testament to the car's durability was that aside from consuming tires, it required no mechanical repairs whatsoever during the entire attempt. To appreciate how extraordinary this feat was, consider the Anglia's humble specs. In standard form, a 105E had a top speed of just 74 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of nearly 27 seconds. The 13-pound performance kit, a minimal investment, was enough to unlock relentless reliability from the new 997 cubic centimeters Kent engine, allowing it to sustain a speed 10 miles per hour faster than its official top speed for a solid week. This record run was more than a publicity stunt. It was a powerful, real-world demonstration of the toughness and engineering integrity packed into Ford's quirky, American-styled economy car, cementing its reputation far beyond the showroom. For beyond its wipers, the Anglia 105E was defined by a series of clever and sometimes curiously modern decisions. In a move that seems almost alien today, Ford actually lowered the car's price during the production run as manufacturing became more efficient, making it an increasingly affordable family workhorse. Its distinctive two-tone paint scheme and reliable mechanicals also made it a favorite of British police forces, where it served as an iconic panda car, a nickname for small patrol vehicles that persist in the UK to this day. Furthermore, in a surprisingly forward-thinking step for an economy car of its era, its iconic shape was refined in a wind tunnel, hinting at the aerodynamic efficiency that would become standard decades later. The car's legacy was cemented in the most unexpected of places, the magical world of Hogwarts. The Anglia achieved cinematic immortality as the enchanted, flying Ford that rescued Harry and Ron in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. In a twist of darkly humorous realism for such a fragile classic, the production famously destroyed nearly all the cars used during filming. Most met their end in the violent crash into the Whomping Willow, a fittingly dramatic finale for a car always known for its spirited character. This pop culture fame has forever intertwined the Anglia with magic and mischief, elevating it from a simple classic to a genuine icon. Ultimately, the Ford Anglia 105E remains beloved not because it was the fastest or the most refined car of its day. A contemporary road test recorded a leisurely 0 to 60 miles per hour time of over 26 seconds, but precisely because of its honest quirks and resilient charm. It was a vehicle of contradictions, American-inspired yet quintessentially British, straightforward yet full of character, humble yet capable of record-breaking endurance. 5. In the context of post-war British motoring, the idea of a heater being an optional extra was not just thinkable, it was standard industry practice. For manufacturers like Ford, the goal was to present a tantalizingly low base price in advertisements and showrooms. Every non-essential comfort feature was stripped out to hit that number, creating a standard model that was, by modern standards, remarkably sparse. The heater, along with a radio, passenger side sun visor, and even seatbelts in the earliest years, lived on the options list. This allowed buyers to customize their level of comfort and expense, making car ownership accessible to more people, even if it meant braving winter drives in a coat and gloves. For the early Anglia 105E buyer, opting for warmth meant specifying a fresh air heater, a unit mounted under the dashboard. The cost was £15, which represented a significant 2.5% of the car's initial £589 price tag. This was a considerable extra for many working-class families, for whom the car itself was a major financial commitment. It underscores a fundamental difference in philosophy. Cars were first and foremost considered machinery for transport, not mobile lounges. Durability and mechanical innovation, like the new overhead valve Kent engine, were prioritized over what were then seen as interior luxuries. 6. That's correct, and this deliberate price reduction is one of the most telling quirks of the 1960s British car market. While today we expect models to become more expensive year after year, even as they are facelifted or replaced, Ford pursued the opposite strategy with the Anglia 105E. From its 1959 launch price of £589, the cost of a new Anglia standard was systematically lowered, reaching £535 by 1967, a drop of over 9%. This wasn't a clearance sale. It was a calculated and aggressive market tactic. Ford was leveraging unprecedented economies of scale and manufacturing efficiency to not just hold the price, but to actively undercut its own earlier models in the competition, making car ownership accessible to a rapidly growing segment of the population. This price cutting was made possible by Ford's revolutionary Red Book accounting system and its move toward vertical integration at its giant Dagenham plant. By controlling more of the production process in-house and relentlessly improving assembly line efficiency, Ford drove down the cost per unit. The savings were then passed directly to the customer to fuel volume sales. The strategy worked brilliantly. The Anglia became a massive seller, and the lower price point squeezed rivals like BMC's Mini, which struggled with production costs. For the consumer, it created the unusual scenario where a newer, more refined version of a car, often with minor improvements, could be had for less money than the older, cruder version. This practice highlights a fundamental shift in automotive philosophy. Ford's goal was total market dominance through volume, not premium margins. The Anglia was treated almost as a consumable product, where affordability and reliability were the ultimate virtues. This stands in stark contrast to the modern automotive model, where continuous feature creep and technological addition justifies steady price inflation. The Anglia's descending price tag is a fascinating artifact from an era when making a car cheaper was seen as a pinnacle of industrial achievement and the key to winning the market. 7. The Anglia's journey to becoming a British policing icon began with a simple design choice: its cheerful two-tone paint scheme. In an era of increasingly drab saloon cars, the Anglia's crisp white body paired with contrasting green or blue roof made it instantly recognizable and, crucially, highly visible. This wasn't just a styling gimmick. For police forces experimenting with a new approach to community policing in the 1960s, that friendly and approachable appearance was a key feature. The car looked less like a tool of authority and more like a helpful public service, which was precisely the point. Adopted by forces like the Metropolitan Police in the mid-1960s, these Anglias were far from standard. They were given the Panda car moniker, a nickname that effortlessly stuck due to their distinctive black and white or light and dark livery, reminiscent of the beloved bear. But beyond the paint, they were mechanically upgraded for the job, often fitted with the larger 1,198 cubic centimeters engine from the Anglia Super for better performance, and unique ventilation systems to keep windows clear. They patrolled newly established Panda car beats, focusing on community contact and accessible, local-level crime prevention, with the Anglia's small size and nimbleness making it perfect for navigating tight urban streets. The true testament to the Anglia's impact is that the nickname it popularized outlived its service by decades. While the 105E was eventually retired from police use, the term Panda car became permanently woven into the fabric of British culture, used for generations of small patrol vehicles that followed. So, whenever you hear that phrase, you can trace a direct line back to those friendly, two-tone Fords that first brought a new style of policing, an enduring piece of slang, to the streets of Britain. 8. Of all the Anglia's quirks, the location of its chassis number might be the most authentically frustrating for anyone who's ever owned one. In an age before standardized vehicle identification plates, Ford chose a method that felt almost secretive. They stamped a unique serial number directly into the metal of the right-hand front suspension strut top, hidden within the engine bay. This wasn't meant to be a convenient check for owners. It was a permanent, integral mark on the car's structure itself, a philosophy drawn from a simpler industrial mindset, where the chassis itself was the primary vehicle. The cruel irony is that this spot is one of the most notorious rust traps on the entire car. Over decades, roads spray, moisture, and grime collect in that exact area, eating away at the very metal where the identity is encoded. For restorers and classic car verifiers today, this creates a common and often heartbreaking puzzle. They might embark on a project with a car that seems complete, only to lift the bonnet and find a brown, crusty mass where a clean set of numbers should be, rendering the vehicle's core identity illegible and complicating everything from historical registration to proving its authenticity. So, this small rust-prone etching is more than just a poor design choice. It's a tiny time capsule of mid-century British automotive manufacturing. It speaks to an era of less concern for long-term corrosion and a focus on production line simplicity. 9. The very idea of putting a humble family runabout through wind tunnel testing sounds like something from a far more modern era of automotive design. Yet, for the forward-thinking engineers at Ford's Dagenham plant in the late 1950s, it was a calculated gamble. While competitors were still crafting cars by rule and eye, Ford invested in the science of aerodynamics for their new Anglia 105E, seeking an edge in performance and efficiency that would set their economy car apart. This wasn't just about making it look fast. It was about making it work smarter, using air rather than fighting it. This focus was a radical departure from the prevailing three-box design philosophy, where a car was essentially a spacious cabin slapped between two bulky, squared-off cargo areas for the engine and trunk. The wind tunnel work directly sculpted the Anglia's most iconic features. That famous backward slanting rear window wasn't merely a stylistic nod to American luxury cars. It was an aerodynamic trick to help air flow cleanly off the car, reducing drag. The low, sloping nose and subtly integrated tail fins all contributed to a shape that was decidedly more slippery than the boxy 100E model it replaced. The result was a car that felt noticeably more adept on the road than its modest power suggested. The refined shape contributed to better high-speed stability and, crucially, improved fuel economy, a major selling point for its target market. While not a sports car by any measure, the Anglia's wind tunnel-honed silhouette gave a feeling of poised modernity. It was a clear signal that Ford was applying serious engineering rigor to every aspect of the car, proving that thoughtful science could be just as important as mechanical specification in creating a successful and enduring mass-market classic. 10. When the Ford Anglia 105E debuted in 1959, its peppy new 997 cubic centimeters engine was heralded as a modern marvel, replacing the outdated side valve units of its predecessors. What no one could have fully appreciated at the time was that this unassuming overhead valve four-cylinder was a humble beginning of a motoring dynasty. Christened the Kent engine after the county where Ford's Dagenham plant was located, this compact and robust power plant was designed with cleverness and flexibility that would make it one of the most influential and prolific engines in automotive history. The Kent engine's true genius lay in its potential. It was engineered from the outset to be stretched, tuned, and adapted. Its simple, rugged construction made it reliable, while its design allowed for significant increases in displacement. This meant the same basic architecture that powered the frugal Anglia could be transformed to serve an entire generation of Fords. It soon grew to 1.2, then 1.3, and finally 1.6 liters, becoming the beating heart of the best-selling Cortina, the stylish Capri, and the practical Escort. It powered family cars, coupes, and vans with equal willingness, earning a reputation for indestructibility and ease of repair that made it a favorite of mechanics and owners alike. However, the Kent engine's legacy was cemented not just on a high street, but on the racetrack and rally stage. In highly tuned form, it became a giant killer in motorsport, propelling the Lotus Cortina and the legendary Ford Escort MK1 and MK2 to countless victories. Its accessible design also made it the darling of the grassroots tuning scene, a gateway for a generation of enthusiasts to learn about performance. From a humble start in the engine bay of a quirky family saloon, the Kent engine evolved into an icon of versatility and performance, proving that the greatest legends often have the most modest beginnings. 11. The Ford Anglia 105E didn't just evolve from its predecessor. It teleported from a different continent altogether. In late 1950s Britain, a landscape still dotted with upright, boxy saloons, the Anglia arrived looking like a slice of American dream. Its designers at Dagenham deliberately channeled the vibrant transatlantic style of the era, crafting a low-slung nose, hooded headlights that peered out like subtle eyes, and distinct, albeit modest, tail fins at the rear. This wasn't a mere facelift. It was a complete stylistic rebellion, offering British families a taste of stateside flair at a budget price, making the car on their driveway feel excitingly modern and aspirational. This American influence was a calculated and clever market strategy. After the austerity of the post-war years, British consumers were increasingly captivated by the glamorous cars emerging from Detroit, seen in films and magazines. Ford UK understood this desire by grafting those coveted American cues, the sweeping lines, the promise of open road freedom, onto a practical, affordable European package. They created irresistible appeal. The now famous reverse slant rear window, itself borrowed from a Lincoln Continental mishap, was a crowning piece of this transatlantic fusion. It was a masterstroke of perception, transforming a humble economy car into a symbol of forward-looking style. The success of this formula was profound. The Anglia's American-inspired silhouette made it an instant standout, giving it a charismatic personality that its purely utilitarian rivals utterly lacked. This personality is precisely why it has endured so vividly in popular culture, from its dependable service as a friendly British panda car to its magical, flight-capable role in the Harry Potter films. The 105E proved that design inspiration could be as powerful as mechanical innovation, using the allure of American style to craft a uniquely British icon that was, and remains, utterly charming in its ambition. 12. The introduction of the Anglia Super in 1962 was Ford's attempt to inject a bit of luxury and pep into their popular small car, but it came with a configuration puzzle that could baffle buyers then, and historians now, marketed as a more refined model. The Super boasted a larger 1,198 cubic centimeters engine for improved performance, plusher interior trim, and additional chrome accents. However, in a move that defies modern car buying logic, the engine size and the trim level were not a fixed package. Ford's production system treated them as separate options, leading to some truly unusual factory-built cars. This meant a customer could walk into a dealership and, whether by specific request or dealer inventory, end up with a car that mixed and matched its major features. The most common and sensible combination was, of course, the full Super package. The 1,198 cubic centimeters engine with the upgraded Super interior. However, it was entirely possible to order a car with a bigger, more powerful Super engine mated to the basic, vinyl-trimmed seats and minimal features of the deluxe model. Even more rarely, the reverse could occur. A car wearing the upmarket Super trim and badges could be specified with the smaller, milder 997 cubic centimeters engine from the standard Anglia, likely for a buyer who wanted the visual prestige but prioritized fuel economy. This seeming chaos wasn't mere incompetence. It was a reflection of Ford's highly flexible production line and a customer choice philosophy that seems almost alien today. It prioritized manufacturing efficiency and broad choice over simplified marketing. 13. When the Ford Anglia 105E arrived in 1959, one of its most significant revolutions was hidden beneath the surface, right at the front wheels. It was one of the first mass-produced cars in its class to feature a MacPherson strut independent front suspension, a layout so advanced and effective that it would become the universal blueprint for the modern automobile. This wasn't just a minor tweak to the older cart spring systems. It was a fundamental rethinking of how a car should connect to the road, trading crude, bouncy simplicity for sophisticated, controlled composure. The genius of MacPherson strut, pioneered by American engineer Earl S. MacPherson, lay in its elegant simplicity. It combined a shock absorber and a coil spring into a single, compact unit that also served as a steering pivot. This design was lighter, used less space, allowing for more engine bay room or a slimmer front end, and, crucially, provided far better wheel control. For the Anglia driver, this translated into a tangible improvement in how the car felt. More stable on bumpy British roads, more precise through corners, and generally more modern in its handling demeanor. It gave the little economy car a sophisticated driving feel that belied its humble price tag. Ford's bet on this technology proved visionary. The success and durability of the design in the Anglia led Ford to rapidly adopt MacPherson struts across its entire model range, from the Cortina to the Capri. The industry took note, and this compact, cost-effective, and highly effective system became the default for front suspension design globally. So, every time you drive a modern car with a confident, composed feel, you're experiencing the legacy of a pioneering engineering decision made for a quirky, two-tone family saloon from Dagenham. The Anglia struts did more than just improve its own ride. They helped set the template for decades of automotive design to come. 14. The Ford Anglia's journey to Hollywood immortality in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets required a brutal, real-world transformation. To create the enchanted flying car, The film's special effects team amassed a small fleet of mostly pre-restored Anglias. Their magic was mechanical. They cut out the front suspension to allow the cars to be tugged along by cables, reinforced the bodies to withstand lifts and drops, and rigged them with pyrotechnics for their explosive finale. These once-cherished classics were, for all practical purposes, converted into disposable stunt rigs, their preservation sacrificed for cinematic spectacle. The scale of the carnage is startling even by film industry standards. Of the 16 Anglias reportedly used during production, a mere 2 survived the shoot intact. The vast majority met their end during the violent crash sequence into the Whomping Willow, a scene requiring multiple takes with different cars to capture the various angles of destruction. Others were damaged or destroyed during the flying sequences or in the Forbidden Forest. This astonishing attrition rate highlights the stark, unromantic reality of blockbuster filmmaking, where authentic period vehicles are often viewed not as historical artifacts, but as authentic-looking props with a single destructive purpose. There's a profound irony in this fate. For a car celebrated by enthusiasts for its durability and endurance, its cinematic legacy is defined by systematic destruction, while collectors and restorers dedicate thousands of hours to preserving every original bolt. The film crew's goal was to dismantle, crash, and blow them up with convincing realism. Yet, this very sacrifice is what etched the Anglia 105E into the minds of millions worldwide, transforming it from a niche British classic into a global symbol of magical mischief. Its Hollywood history is indeed dark for the purist, but it secured the car's cheerful ghost a permanent, hovering place in modern mythology. 15. To read a contemporary road test of the new Ford Anglia 105E in 1959 is to confront a stark reality check amidst all its space-age styling. While its looks promised excitement, the stopwatch told a different story. One recorded a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 26.9 seconds, a figure that feels almost geological by today's standards. Test drivers also grumbled about a pronounced flat spot, a sudden sag in power and responsiveness at low revs just as you want to pull away. This wasn't a minor quirk. It was a fundamental flaw in the driving experience for the eager early adopter, proving that the new overhead valve engine was still finding its feet. Ford, to its great credit, didn't ignore the problem. The issue was traced to the carburetor, and the company took the unusually customer-focused step of offering a free replacement to early owners. This wasn't a secret recall, but a direct acknowledgement that the car wasn't delivering on its promised potential. Owners could return to their dealers and have the faulty components swapped out, a move that undoubtedly saved the Anglia's reputation for reliability and customer care. Even if it couldn't magically transform it into a speed demon, this episode perfectly encapsulates the Anglia's honest charm. It was never a fast car, even after the fix, but it was a car that a major manufacturer stood behind. That flat spot and its remedies speak to an era of more mechanical transparency and a simple relationship between driver, dealer, and factory. Today, that 26.9-second sprint is worn as a badge of honor by enthusiasts, a reminder that the car's enduring appeal was never about brute force, but about style, resilience, and a kind of plucky, endearing underdog character that makes every journey, however slow, a piece of motoring history.